Bienvenidos, señoras y señores. Estamos en vivo. The carne asada. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of the Bleed Lows podcast is brought to you by Bet Online. Bet Online is your number one source for all your summer sports this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NBA, and NHL playoffs. Get all the latest stats, news, and scores. They're available to follow for all your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds. Just about every sport out there. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Well, look who's back, ladies and gentlemen. La Princesa de Picolandia has returned. Princesa, let's get an update first, because I know every time we do the show, everybody always asks about you, how you're doing, have you recovered? I know you are eternally grateful for everything that you went through, but let's start off first. Let's get an update. How are you? How are things? How are you holding up?
Thank you. Look at my Prince of Darkness, being all Prince of Light. I am so much better, way ahead of schedule. The doctors originally gave me a 4 to 8 month prognosis of when I could walk on my own, no cane, all that good stuff. But 3.5 months, no cane. I went to Star Wars night at Dodger Stadium, walked on my own, and I just went to Oracle Park in San Francisco and walked a lot. And it hurt a little, my pelvis, but stretched out. I'm fine. I'm so grateful. My collarbone is giving me more trouble than my pelvis, believe it or not. But I'm going to be 100% soon, and I can't wait. Yay.
And just to clarify everything that you are overcoming, did you actually break your pelvis and the clavicle, and so you are like Wolverine? Apparently you heal pretty quickly then, to be doing that in those numbers. We're going to talk about your trip up to San Pancho this week. I just want to, since we're updating life, everybody, I do want to give you guys another update, because I know some of you guys ask. Alonso is going to take some time off from the show. For those of you who know, Alonso has there is some illness in his family that he needs to devote some time to and take care. So we're not going to see Alonso on the show for a while. That doesn't mean he's gone, guys. Alonso is still a part of the show. I just want to make that clear to everybody. But if you can send any positive vibes that you can to Alonso and his family, it would be much appreciated. Joining us on the show, of course, is Canelo, and we got Babyface in the corner. And I can see our usuals are already on here. Daniel, ¿cómo estás? Michael Carrillo is here. Dennis Gonzalez, and it's good times. We get to talk about the Doyers here, and so La Princesa went up to San Francisco for Monday's game. Princesa, give us a report on how this went, because I want to compare. I went to Petco this weekend. I went down to Petco on Sunday. So I want to compare notes with you. So let's start off first. How was it on Monday? Because from everything we're hearing, it was Dodger Stadium North up there in San Francisco on Monday.
I would not disagree with that assessment. I mean, I also feel like there might have been technically in numbers more Giants fans. However, Dodger fans are just loud and proud and rocking the blue. And so what a complete, the distraction from the red or the orange, all that blue, tons of blue, lots of blue. And then the Dodgers gave us all a lot to cheer for. So that didn't help the situation at Oracle. But I will say they were very gracious. Everyone was so very, in fact, I feel like even though the Giants are the hated ones and our true rival, at least generationally for me, I get treated better up there than I do in San Diego. So I don't know what that is. I'm grateful. My girlfriend, I took my friend Angelica. It was her first time up to a Dodger game in San Francisco. Loved it, loved that chill, an excuse to eat lobster sandwiches and clam chowder. And like, it was just so fun. And thank goodness the Dodgers are just rolling. And Ohtani, I know he hit all, he went for the cycle last night and the home runs, but watching him play, and deliver and strategize and be skillful. It was just a gift. And I want to give a lot of love to everyone out there. We sat by four gentlemen, Giants fans, diehards, who were actually very gracious and, a little ribbing, a little joking, a little bit of joking at Otani's expense, but we just gave them that look and they settled down. It was very respectful.
And before you guys start jumping down Alicia's throat, Otani came close to hitting for the cycle. He didn't
Right,
end
close.
up. He came short. The
Triple
triple.
short, right?
He was missing the triple. But
Yeah.
to her point that she got treated better in San Pancho, I will compare my trip down to San Diego this weekend because my daughter and I celebrated Mother's Day by doing what we wanted to do and not necessarily what my wife wanted to do, because that's how we celebrate Mother's Day. And apparently we have started a new tradition that on Mother's Day, we take my wife to a Dodger game. Last year, we took her to Dodger Stadium. And so this year, I told my daughter, I said, all right, you need to plan this. You need to come up with an idea. So she comes up to me Saturday and goes, what if we go down to San Diego and watch the Dodgers Padres game? And I said, that sounds like that's a gift for us and not for your mother. And she's just like, just ask her. And I said, do you want to go down? And she was just like, fine, let's just make a day of it. So we go down to San Diego, Petco Park. For me, my two favorite visiting stadiums are Petco Park and Oracle Park. I think those stadiums are beautiful. Now, the show pods, they set a record in attendance this weekend for this Dodger series, over 133,000. And what I thought was very interesting, I know Pantone was down there Saturday night, and Saturday night was the night that they set the record for most attendance in a game. They were over 46,000. Petco Park, and I feel like they're kind of cheating here. Petco Park seats a little over 42,000. So how is it that they are a sellout at over 46,000? I don't know if you guys are familiar with the area behind Petco Park called Gallagher Square. Years ago, and Petco Park now has been around 20 years. Years ago, that used to be all open. You could just walk in there and you'd watch the screen, the big screen, you could watch the game. Well, now they gated all of Gallagher Square, and you need to buy a ticket to get into Gallagher Square. So they sell tickets, and then people just sit there on the grass. They sit down in the park. So that gets added to their attendance. So that's how they got 46,000 when there was 42,000 is capacity. That being said, there were a lot of Doyer fans out there. So show pods, congratulations, but you owe the Dodger fans who travel. I mean, I was walking around the gas lamp. I must have seen a bunch of Dodger gear whatever restaurant we sat in. Dodger fan was there. Dodger fan represented. Dodger fan travels. So as much as everybody wants to hate on the Dodgers, they should be thankful because attendance wouldn't be what it is. I mean, the Dodgers have already drawn over 1 million so far at Dodger Stadium this year. And you know what's crazy, guys? Is attendance is actually down this year compared to last year. Canelo, jump in on this.
I mean, that is kind of fascinating when I saw, I forget who posted it. It may have been MLB or some ticket website just showing everything across the board. But yeah, down 4% from years before. So I think the biggest jump was actually the Diamondbacks. They were like plus 78% or something like that, which makes sense because, they did go on a World Series run last year. So that could be it as well. But yeah. I mean, Dodger fans, they travel well. I'm here on the East Coast. I mentioned when I was in Nationals Park, it seemed like most of the crowd there was Dodger fans. A little bit, a couple years ago, that was probably most of the Philly crowd when I went to games. Now it's a little bit different because, Phillies, they're playing really good baseball, just as good, if not a little bit better than the Dodgers. But that's just been a thing that everybody knows. Dodger fans, it's not just a Los Angeles thing. It's pretty much a whole nation. And now with Otani, it's pretty much a global thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm surprised. I thought with the additions of Otani and Yamamoto that attendance would be up. Princesa, could it be possibly that just ticket prices are insane and that's why attendance dropped a little bit at Dodger Stadium? Because it's not adding up for me.
I think you nailed it. There are regulars, friends of mine that have mentioned that it's a different vibe. And I'm not going to put words in their mouth, but you add to the high ticket prices. I mean, tomorrow is Otani bobblehead night. It's the first of two scheduled by the Los Angeles Dodgers, and you can't get in. It's been sold out, but on secondhand sites, $100 minimum. And that's for up there with the Seagulls. Like it is, and it is what it is. I'm not here to judge because someone's got to pay for the deferment, but I'm just saying I've been told by, I've only been to two games, opening day and Star Wars night. And Star Wars night was the release after the Braves were here. So it was really mellow, not sold out. It was a very cool vibe. So I'm not sure what my friends are talking about, but they go all the time and they comment in a negative way. Maybe we can hear from some of our Bleed Lows fam here, what they think. Is that true? Have you gone to a lot of games where it's just kind of different or weird or not fun? I don't know what they're talking about.
I think from an outside perspective, I think one of the biggest factors when I looked at it, I thought it was the weather, because I just felt like Los Angeles just hasn't had really good weather yet. I even mentioned to Roger
because we have rain delays now out here.
That's part of it. You had a couple games that way. A couple games were a little bit colder. Something on the East Coast where I'd be like, yeah, that's the type of weather a baseball game I want to go to. But under 80 degrees, that's just not good LA weather apparently. So that could have attributed to that as well. But I mean, sometimes when I look at a game here on the East Coast, like, do I really want to go? Because I'm not a crowd person. I don't like being in super crowds. Dodger Stadium is pretty spacious and open, but I mean, when there's a lot of people there, there's a lot of people there, and some people just aren't feeling that vibe.
Right now, if you go look for a ticket for tomorrow, standing room only, 125. There's like very few tickets left, if any. 125 standing room only.
Yep.
And I think there's something in reserve. Let me see.
It's for
reserve.
Remind everybody, please get there early if you've got tickets. I always see little kids crying on major bobblehead nights. Am I wrong, Juan? Like Hello Kitty night, and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because they think 40,000 is a lot. It isn't, especially Otani's first bobblehead. Come on, you gotta get out of work early.
They just announced that they're gonna plant like 1,700 Otani bobbleheads in a road uniform, mixed in with the white home uniform. So people are gonna be looking for those 1,700 bobbleheads floating around.
Look, you're absolutely right, Princesa, because I see those kids crying, and I'm thinking, here I see grown-ass men that are carrying on, like, remember that time, Princesa, when you had, like, that clear bag and it's all loaded with, like, Dodgers World Series rings? Remember when you did that? Remember that?
My family.
Remember?
I had the bag.
I see grown men with like giant bags, and it's just full of bobbleheads. And then these little kids are walking around and they don't have it. But look, that's different because StubHub and all those other sites, I expect those prices. Okay. I expect it's going to be ridiculous. If the game is sold out, the Dodgers have already made their money. But if you go and buy a ticket directly from the Dodgers site, sometimes, seats, there was a time where you could get seats for like $6 up on the top deck or out in the pavilion. You can't do that anymore. So I wonder if that is the reason why you see that little dip where fans are just like, oh, well, they're raising the prices to pay for Otani or whatever. But I was just surprised by that. One thing I do want you guys to settle the score for me, though, Princesa, is I know you said they treat you better up in San Francisco, but between those two ballparks, Petco and Oracle, which one is your favorite?
Ouch. I'm going to go with what Canelo mentioned. Weather-wise, Petco, because it's kind of like, well, not kind of, warmer, a lot more raza there, right? Like a lot more. That's where you get ranch waters. But
yes, the ranch waters. La agua del rancho. That's right.
But there's something beautiful about being, I don't know if it's because I'm an Aquarius or what, but being on the water in San Francisco, Levi's Landing, I mean, the food, it's just an experience, if that makes sense. Like,
so you prefer Oracle? You prefer Oracle?
I think I'm leaning, although watch, I mean, I guess if I had to pick one right now, yes. But that's just because I'm still feeling how much fun I had on Monday, maybe. I don't know. Now you're gonna get me in trouble with Dodgers fans.
No,
Dodger Stadium is my favorite. There you go.
we're talking about visiting ballparks. We're talking about visiting ballparks, and I will say this: I everything that you said about Oracle is it is about the the Cove. That's what sells it. But this last time at Petco, the fact that it was so easy for me to get into, I got out of the stadium in like 10 minutes, and it was sold out. The game was sold out, and I got out of there. There's something about a stadium being inside the city, the way they built that stadium. And look, and I'm going to include Dodger Stadium here. The food is 100 times better at Petco than it is at Dodger Stadium. And so it is a great environment there at Petco. Babyface, I'm going to give you the opportunity now to shit on the show pods, because you can't really say anything about the show pods because they took 2 out of 3 this weekend. So if you still want to
swept, they always do that, right?
If you want to talk shit on the show pods after they took 2 out of 3 for the Dodgers, go ahead. The floor is yours, sir.
And then they got swept by the Rockies, right? 3 games. Like,
yep.
But what did they do to us? What did they do to the Dodgers?
It goes to prove to Mookie's point, right? Like, I saw something like against the rest of the league, they're like 17-21 or something like that, and 5-3 against the Dodgers. So it kind of goes
series hangover.
Same thing. I mean, they always come to play the Dodgers, right? That's kind of their thing. They get hyped up for that match, and then they kind of after that, it's kind of whatever. They're so. But yeah, I mean, I'll agree. I mean, they do have great food at Petco Park. Petco Park's a very beautiful stadium. One of my favorites to go to. But it's like, well, why can't the Dodgers kind of replicate what they have as far as food wise, right? Like, can't they get some of those same?
Exactly.
Like, you would think that they would go out and kind of just revamp their entire food items, everything. I know they're doing different stuff with food, but I mean, they can go out and look at what other stadiums do and kind of bring that into Dodger Stadium.
Have you gentlemen had the lobster sandwich at Oracle Park?
Oh, wow. Look at her. I'm just going to eat my lobster while I'm watching baseball, everybody.
Where else can you get a lobster? I mean, actually, you could get one at Fenway, but
exactly. With the chatterheads. Park your car. Too far
at
for
Oracle is better than the one at Fenway. I said it. It is delicious. It is buttery and greasy, and it's on sourdough bread. They get there, like, it's just ridiculous how good that sandwich is. And then you just walk a few, you could get clam chowder. You walk a little bit more, you get the Ghirardelli hot chocolate, which my friends might or might not have put whiskey inside of it because it was chili. It was chili. No judgment here. No judgment here. Extra whipped cream. I mean, I could go on and on how much fun I had. But again, I haven't been to a Padres game this season. And I do always have fun at Padres games. It's just, I feel like there's a little more drunkenness at Padres games where they yell at me. They yell at Dodgers fans. You didn't get any of that?
Oh, yeah. We had a Padre fan, and it was 2 girls.
I didn't get any of that at Oracle. In fact, I felt like some of the guys were being flirty. I don't know.
We had 2 girls sitting behind us screaming the whole freaking game. And my wife ended up getting a migraine, and she just ended up moving and just went to a different section. And these girls and it was driving my wife insane because they didn't really know the sport very well. Like one of them said, "What time is halftime?" And it was just it was driving her nuts. And the thing is like Darvish was just killing the Dodgers. He was just mowing them down. At this point, I looked at my daughter and I was like, as long as we don't get no hit. I mean, at this point, I don't even care if we score a run. I just don't want to get no hit. But that series, to me, I think is the reason why I think a lot of Dodger fans can't enjoy the season as well as the Dodgers are playing. The fact that they're in first place, they got a 7.5 game lead. Looking at that Padres series, I think it is the reminder that things can turn just like that. Michael King was sick. He was filthy on Friday. The movement that he had in his pitches. And then what happens? He gives up 6 runs and 5 1/3 against the Rockies. And I get it that the Rockies, I think, have now won 8 in a row. And the Rockies they got hot at the right time. But it's just, a lot of people, as Dave Roberts would say, it's baseball. How the hell can Michael King go from dominating the Dodgers to just looking like a completely different pitcher? And it seems like ever since Darvish has left the Dodgers, Darvish owns the Dodgers. Canelo, jump in on this.
Yeah, I mean, Darvish does own the Dodgers, especially since 2017. Maybe he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, even though he does feel bad that he did lose that World Series due to the cheating allegations from the Houston Astros and everything that is involved with that. But yeah, I mean, Roger and I are probably the biggest Padres hater on here, and I feel like we kind of have to eat our words a little bit just because, the Dodgers are only 3-5 against the Padres this year, and it seems like for whatever reason, the moment's just too big, especially in San Diego. I don't know if there's enough players that are still from that 2022 playoff team that, lost 3 straight games that ended in that city. So maybe they just don't feel comfortably mentally at that stadium. And baseball, it's more mental than it is physical. So, and I don't know. I just don't get the same vibes when they're playing at home against the Padres compared to playing on the road in Petco. But, they also lost 2 out of 3 in LA as well. And I do think there is some truth that the Padres do get up for this series. It goes to Mookie Betts' point, which everyone wants to still clown if you're not a Dodgers fan, where he says, when teams face us, this is their World Series. And the Padres, I give them credit. They are 5-3 against the Dodgers this year. They look like it'll probably be the closest, season series split between the two in probably a long time. And they just play with an extra spit of energy for whatever reason. I thought these games were very similar to October feeling due to how packed the games were. That game between, even though the Dodgers lost, I in the back of my head, I felt like they were going to drop that game between Glasnow and King. That is probably textbook October baseball. And it, honestly, even though they lost, it got me excited because I was like, if the Dodgers had Tyler Glasnow last October and he did this, you're probably talking about a whole different way that series against the Diamondbacks went off, because this dude has literally proven that he is the ace of the staff. I know there's Yamamoto on the team. Kershaw's eventually coming back, but Glasnow in October with 97 plus mile per hour, if they can keep him healthy for the rest of the season, that is their ace. And I think he went pitch for pitch with King. King just had a little bit of, extra energy from that Padres crowd, even though, it was a mix of Dodger fans, a mix of Padres fans. But it does show, like you said, Juan, this type of team you can't underestimate. If these two teams met in October, I'm not sure I would really favor the Dodgers. I think it would be really close, 50-50. And I think we've gotten our gut punch 2 years in a row looking at that. We were favored against the Padres. We were favored against the Diamondbacks. And we pretty much any playoff series that we've been since 2017, they've been favored and they found ways to lose. So that's just baseball.
Can I follow up with that with what Canelo just mentioned? I think I told you this, Roger. Babyface, I was kind of complaining that leading up to the series with the Padres, I felt like the talking heads, the sports guys here on the radio in LA were downplaying the Padres, like saying, "Oh, they suck. It's going to be so easy." And I'm just thinking, what? It's the Padres. They play the Dodgers like it is their World Series. You've mentioned that over and over. I don't get it. It is mental. I don't get why we are surprised or mad. And because there were Dodger fans ready to just call it a season for losing 2 out of 3 to the Padres, right?
Babyface, come in here and defend your honor.
I mean, the reason, like you mentioned, like it is a reminder of what can happen in October, and that's why, losing 2 out of 3, it's no big deal. But this is exactly what happens in October. It had happened in October. The bats just go dead. They're playing great baseball. They get into this short series, and you drop two games like right off the bat. That you can't have that happen in October. And for me, you can't have that happen now, because that's the exact same thing that could happen in October. So when I see stuff like this, it's worrisome to me, because we've seen this happen now for the last 2 years, and you got to find a way to get out of it. And it was kind of the same thing again. Like Padres bats were kind of cold, Dodgers bats were kind of cold, and whoever got that big hit, and Dodgers just don't seem to get that big hit in the moment, except that Saturday game when Teoscar had that grand slam. But other than that, like I said, the bats just kind of they went away. And even in going into San Francisco, first game it was still the bats were kind of didn't wake up yesterday. First couple innings, and then they finally broke it open. So
wait,
kinda,
no, one day. I mean, there was some hits Monday. I mean, Otani did. I even recorded one of his RBIs because I just love watching him play. I know a lot of people show up for the home runs, but Otani's a player. Like
Yeah.
he's what we want from the rest of the team, isn't it? Like he bloops one over, gets an RBI. He steals bases. Like Otani is such a complete, skillful player, and I'm hoping that's motivating the rest of the team, especially through October. So I think I don't think we should live. Well, what do I know? But I'm just appreciating. That's all I'm trying to say. I appreciate when we do get hits and don't live for the long ball. Go
No,
Otani.
but to Roger's point, I mean, that Saturday game, the game that the Dodgers won, they got out hit. Yeah, they got out. I mean, the offense just, and again, I tipped my hat to the show pods pitching. I mean, shit, even Michael Waldron. I mean, I was just like, really, right, Canelo? It's like, how the hell is this happening?
I don't know. It's weird because I look at it and I said, dude has like a 6 ERA. He's definitely throwing a shutout. That was my intention. I go in with dark thoughts. I'm more similar to Juan than we really think. Just go in with, low expectations, and then, you'll be rewarded if they win the game.
Yeah, and so I thought that was just an interesting point in the sense it's like this team is in first place. They're 7.5 games up, but yet I feel like that Padres series really left a sour taste in everyone's mouth because it was like, dude, if we get that, because this is a tournament now. The playoffs are a tournament, right? And if the Dodgers end up getting the show pods again, if Michael King pitches the way he pitched, and we know what Darvish, and I think the show pods are going to make more moves because Preller obviously just says, fuck them kids. He doesn't care about the farm system. He will trade them. And as much as the trade that they made for, Arraez, the Luis Arraez that had us, scratching our heads, hey, how is this going to work? Well, if you keep him as a DH, it stretches that lineup. And who knows what they're going to end up getting later on. That bullpen, Suarez, Peralta's having a great season. I mean, the end of that bullpen, it just makes me go, damn, man, can the bats go quiet again? But like Doom Sal said in the chat, I think having Shohei, this is going to be huge for Shohei because this is first time Shohei's going to be in the playoffs. The Dodgers have never had a player like Shohei. Like Mookie had a great postseason. We've had other players that have had great postseasons, but Shohei is a completely different animal where this is a guy that I think, I know it's hard to say this in baseball, but I do feel like that is a dude. He could have a Barry Bonds effect on a game, and it's not just by hitting a bomb. Alicia, you mentioned it. I mean, he got an RBI in San Francisco on a ground ball to second.
Yes.
Most people would have
hard. He plays so hard.
Yeah, most people would have jogged that out. So I mean, it was interesting. Okay,
one real quick. Doom Sal's
sir.
here. So Doom Sal donated a Fernando Valenzuela bobblehead, the one that we're using for our 5,000 subscriber. So I tried to pick a winner when we did the 5,000. I couldn't get a hold of the winner. So what we're gonna do is we're actually trying to give it away during this live. So if you're watching right now, right, go ahead and click on the like on the video. Click on all the likes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select somebody from all those likes at the end of the show, and that person will get the bobblehead courtesy of Doom Sal.
Thank you, Doom Sal. Yay!
So there it is, people. Those of you in the chats, go tell all your friends to come join the live right now. Get all, we're giving away the bobblehead. Also, this is a point where I'm going to remind you guys, super chats. I know there's a lot of comments in the chat. Super chats move you to the front of the line. If you have something you really want to get off your chest and you want us to address it, then go ahead and throw us a super chat. The other faux outrage that we experienced this week is something that I want to get into, and that is the leaked City Connect jerseys. I will say this before I go to Canelo, because Canelo wrote a great article about this. Make sure you guys are reading all the stuff that's being posted on Dodgers Beat. But when I first saw that picture late Sunday night, I said, no way. I don't believe it. This is something to create faux outrage on Twitter. That thing is hideous. There is no way that is true. I keep getting messages saying that the dude who leaked that is the same guy who leaked when the hats came out. Canelo. Is that really the Dodgers' second City Connect jersey?
I mentioned to people on social media, I quoted in my article, I think it's legit. And I think it's legit for a couple reasons. And UniWatch, who I got a lot of the information from on to kind of confirm my opinions on it. There's each City Connect has like a hashtag that's representative of the city or whatever team it's going off of. That's right above where the jersey size is. This jersey has it. It's very basic. Just hashtag it's time for Dodgers baseball. The lettering looks pretty accurate. The type of jersey it is. Pretty much everything looks like a standard Nike jersey that you would buy in retail, which this one looks like a retail that you would buy. All of the City Connect jerseys this year have seemingly got just leaked just in random shops. From what I was reading from the Twitter user that leaked this, it was from a Japanese store that had the jersey already in stock. So that makes me lead to believe that these jerseys were made in the Fanatics factory and shipped off to other stores. They just haven't been officially revealed yet. These jerseys aren't supposed to be revealed until sometime in June and worn in July. The only thing that makes me doubt that they may not be it is I think it was on Foul Territory. They were talking to Max Muncy about what he would wear with the City Connect uniform, and they already know what the jerseys look like, so because they already are getting custom cleats and everything for it. And he said he was going to go with the gold design, and I guess gold could match Funfetti if you really want it to look good, but I just don't think it would match too well. But yeah, if these are legit and these are the jerseys, it's a huge letdown. I even stated in my article I was kind of okay with the Los Dodgers uniforms. I thought they were so basic and not too far away from the Dodgers team identity itself that it was fine. It was passable. But this jersey is just a complete 180 off of that, because I even mentioned in my article, I'm not even from Los Angeles, and I said when I look at this, I don't see the Dodgers, and when I look at this, I don't see the city of Los Angeles. No. And I just feel like there's so much creativity that is lost. I want to really know. I even put out a tweet saying, my biggest fear of when Nike took over these jerseys was that they were going to turn it in their creativity department how they release shoes like every couple months, and 95% of their shoe designs end up in like a Marshalls or something for sale. And that just seems like how all these jerseys, I think every City Connect jersey that's released this year has been awful. Like the Phillies, I don't like. The Mets one, I think, is awful. The Dodgers one just makes my heart bleed. I wanted to rip my eyes out when I woke up to it, because I was like, I'm gonna buy the jersey. I haven't bought a jersey in a while. I got the Ohtani one in the back. I'm not buying these if this is the official jersey. So I think this is just a bad look. It's a whole bad look for Nike this entire year, and this just doesn't fix anything for Dodger fans and even baseball fans in general. So I hope it's not it, but I'm 98% sure that they will be it. We'll see.
Princesa, have you seen it? Have you seen the picture that everybody's bitching about?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've seen the leaks, and I'm hoping that it's not true, Canelo. I mean, you're always on it, but I don't want it to be true because they're so ugly, and they do not represent our city. They do not represent what the Dodgers stand for. And all I have to say is, Nike, greed is a hell of a drug. You know that Dodger fans are going to buy it, whether it's ugly or not. Imagine if you actually put out a good product, you'd sell even more. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't know who was running things over there, but you definitely aren't going to get anyone or my 50 diehard family members that are Dodgers fans to buy it. It's just not going to happen.
I don't know who's buying this, because that was the most hated response I've seen on social media. Dodger fans are pretty vocal, especially on Twitter. And I've only seen maybe one or two people that say that I'm going to buy this jersey, and everybody else, I'm seeing memes, whether they look like, the original Pop-Tart, Funfetti cupcake. The new one I'm seeing today is it looks like the DirecTV logo. I really just don't know what to say about these jerseys, because it just really is a stark contrast in what I thought. And, kind of, I guess we can kind of go around like, what did we want it to look like? And one of the things I really wanted them to do was, I'm a sucker for baby blue jerseys. I wanted them to bring back the Brooklyn baby blues and then incorporate maybe something with Los Angeles, maybe like a beach thing, kind of reminiscent of how the stands are at Dodger Stadium. But throw that creativity out of the window. They wanted a complete different route. So I'm just hoping they're not it.
I don't get it.
Babyface. Are you as pissed as everyone else is? I mean, you're a designer.
I mean, I'm trying to look at them. What can you see anything in there that represents LA? Like, what in that design represents LA? Like, where? Because
the D on the side is for Disney that they're trying to put into the Dodgers, but Disneyland is in Anaheim, cabrones. Right?
I mean,
that's not Los Angeles.
I mean, I don't see anything. And I was talking with Cody about this. Okay, when you think of LA, I mean, the default that everybody's always going to say is Hollywood, right? Hollywood. And that's kind of like, that's just the default. And I think it would be actually kind of lazy if they did something, but I'm okay if they did something like that. Something like that's black and gold, or something gold, or, gold with a light creamy color.
Like LAFC, baby? Like LAFC?
Maybe. Have you seen the Vanderbilt, the Commodores, right? Their name. Their uniforms, go look at some of their uniforms, something like that incorporates black and gold, something like that. I mean, if you look at LA City, the LA City flag is green, yellow, and red. I don't think they're going to do anything like that. I don't think Dodger fans would like anything like that.
Rastafari. Yeah, right?
Pretty much, yeah. And we've discussed this before, as far as like maybe doing something LA baseball history, right? And going back to something like the Choriceros, right? From the 50s and 60s and 40s, right? And incorporating something like that, the first baseball teams that were in LA, incorporating something like that. I mean, I'd like to see maybe some piping going down the front, like the old LA Dodger road uniforms that they had. They had that blue piping going down the front, something like that along those lines. But I mean, yeah, this new, or if this is this new City Connect, I mean, this ain't it.
Look, I think you're absolutely right, Babyface. To me, the right answer was to do what the Marlins did. I think the Marlins have the best one, right? And for those that don't know, that Marlins uniform is a tribute to a Cuban baseball team. The Doyers, and I get that they didn't want to do the Choriceros because the Choriceros were not the Dodgers colors. It's a completely different set of colors. But to me, you pay tribute to your history. You pay tribute to the fact that you're playing in Chavez Ravine. That's a Mexican baseball team. You do a tribute to the Choriceros. Now, all right, you don't want to do that? I get it. Why don't you do this? Why don't you bring in members of the community to come in and present designs of what they think represent Los Angeles? Bring in artists from the east side, from the south side, from the west side. Have them present their ideas. Now you're involving the community, and this is truly now a uniform that will represent Los Angeles.
You're hired.
What I want to know is who's making the decisions on the designs. Does this mean the Doyers have no say? The organization has no say on this design, and Nike is the one that is spearheading the design? Does anybody know that? This is a genuine question. Does anybody know that answer?
I think it's, from what I've read, just with all the jersey stuff that happened this year, is that the teams have very little say in what changes. And that goes back to like all the stuff we talked about in the winter, where it was like, okay, do we make the logo off-center? Do we change things up with the pants? Do we do this and that? Do we do the off-white? Like the Dodgers, if they had to choose, I don't think they would have went with that off-white cream that they're all wearing now. That's the same standard white template for all MLB teams. They probably would have went with the pristine white, because there is a huge difference if you look at it up close, especially if you compare it from this year to last year. In terms of designs, I think once you say A-OK to having a City Connect, it's Nike's ball game, it's their jersey, they get to design it, they have final say, and then they submit it, manufacture it, and then issue it off. And I think if these are the jerseys, we're going to see some similar things that the Dodgers did each year when they had their Los Dodgers ones. You know, the first year they were a blueberry, the next year they changed the hat, and then the year after that they changed the pants. This could be a similar fate with this jerseys. I would assume if they don't sell well and that they get enough hate, these will probably be a one and done. I don't imagine them wearing this more than once or twice. And the Dodgers are very particular. The Dodgers are already very particular about what jerseys they wear anyway. They only have 3 jerseys in their rotation, and 2 of them are road jerseys. And it's just because there's something so iconic. Honestly, I thought the Yankees were a little bit stubborn. Nike asked, and MLB asked the Yankees, do you want a City Connect? And they said no, because New York is the Yankees. That was literally their response. They said we don't want a jersey. And when I think of like Dodgers, they are Los Angeles. That is the baseball team there. So I was like, I wish they took that route instead, just because it seems like whatever creative individuals that put stuff out, whether it's on Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, Nike's not going to listen to those people. They're going to have their own guys in there shooting their shot, hopefully something sticks. Where it seems like they threw sprinkles at this thing, and that's what ended up sticking.
Yeah, cupcakes.
Princesa, were you going to say something?
I was just saying when you were giving your ideas on whom should decide what the jerseys. I love involving the city, and make it a contest, right? They could get sponsors to advertise it. I mean, I get it. Again, greed runs this country, so I get it. I'm not saying don't make money, but give us something that we'd be proud to wear, right? Los Angeles, we're very proud, and that's why I think there will be Dodger fans to buy these confetti cupcake jerseys. They just will, because they're so loyal. So I get it. I'm not you do you. But I wanted to embrace the bad boy, the villains of baseball, which loans to what Babyface mentioned earlier, like a little black, a little gold, a little like Vader, a little Sith Lord. Like, I'm down for that. Like, bring it. Like, if we have to change colors up entirely, like, why not go back? In fact, I'm wearing my black hat right now. Shoot.
Look, I think Denny said it on here. I agree with you, Denny. I feel like the one, like Cleveland's got Cleveland supposedly has the Guardian Bridge in the CLE. They feel super generic to me. They feel like softball uniforms. If this is what we are going to do, just get rid of them, because the Dodgers will now have their second City Connect, and at best you can say, like Canelo said, one was basic and the other one is horrible. If you can't get this right, then don't do it. Just don't do it. Like, stick to. I mean, you're right. The Yankees, as much as we want to argue and say that the Dodgers uniform is just as good as the Yankees uniform is iconic. Why would they want any other uniform? Why would they want? I think that's the problem with the Serpientes. The Serpientes have like 500 uniforms every year, and it's like, there was literally, I think, a series against the Serpientes where they wore a different uniform in every game. And it's like, where's your identity? Who are you? That's what your uniform is supposed to be.
Yeah,
and I think that's kind of what's happened now with baseball in general, and Nike has kind of taken advantage of that, because you see these teams like the Diamondbacks, the Padres, they have like 4 or 5 different uniforms that they wear on different days. So like, there's so many. A lot of these teams like Arizona, they don't have an identity, and they have so many uniforms. So when you come to teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees that have iconic uniforms, you can't do anything else. Like, you see something else, any other uniform that says Dodgers on it, it just doesn't look right, because you're used to what we already have. So, but I think there are so many teams now, like I said, that have just multiple uniforms that Nike's like, okay, cool, we can sneak another one in there.
We are asking too much from the company. That if I'm going to give you guys a fun jersey to look up, because everyone's probably seen it. Look up the Great Britain WBC jersey that Nike designed.
Yeah.
That is probably their template. Nike came in with 30 MLB teams that already had pre-established, their jerseys were made years ago, decades ago. And then the ones that they're kind of reshuffling or rebranding them for are the ones that are looking bad. And we're seeing it now, since every team besides 2 or 3 don't have a City Connect. Now we're seeing, this is what they have envisioned for the city, or this is what they have envisioned for that team, and it hasn't looked good. And it hasn't looked good for the NFL. The Color Rush jerseys, they aren't really popular either. And now the City Connect for baseball, it's just not a good look at all. So I would just say the Dodgers should just, after this year, just don't do another one.
They don't need it. Dodgers don't need Nike. They don't need the rebranding. Even any minor tweaks, they have to be done right. I mean, it's the Dodgers. And I like that you brought up the Yankees. Someone there gets it. Someone understands how powerful the Yankees brand is. What's going on with the Dodgers? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I think it's a huge problem that the teams don't have a say in this. I think the fact that Major League Baseball agreed to that, I think there's no other way to explain it other than what you said, Princesa. It's just greed. They took the money and looked the other way. But the fact that the team has no say in how to represent their own city, That to me is bad. I think it's also embarrassing that, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, the Dodgers are going to be the one that the first team to have two, and they didn't get it right either way. Yeah, the first one, Los Dodgers. I mean, I think if you would even gone with Los Dodgers, I
Yeah.
think people would have been more willing to accept that and said, yeah, all right, that it said Los Dodgers. But for them to go, hey, look, we got one and it says Los Dodgers, is like, are you serious? I mean, it's just upsetting. Let's talk about some baseball, guys. The Dodgers pitching staff has been ridiculous. I think what's the stat that you threw out, Babyface, in the last 22 games? Or Canelo, do you have it?
Let me see where I got it at.
I believe it's
four runs or less. 4 runs or
they're
less.
coming up
21
4
straight
runs or less.
games.
21 straight games. Okay. I mean, the starting pitching has been fantastic. And as a result, I think the bullpen has benefited from that. Friend of the Carne Asada, Dave Assay, was on another friend of the Carne Asada, Fred Rogan show. And he made a very interesting statement. And I would love to get your guys' opinion on this. Vassay said that Gavin Stone is having a better season than Yamamoto.
Yes.
Technically, those are two rookies, okay? They are two rookies. So, Canelo, you chimed in. Do you think Gavin Stone? So, if let's say we're doing Rookie of the Year right now, your vote for Rookie of the Year would be Gavin Stone over Yamamoto.
My vote would be for Imanaga because he has an ERA under 1.
Okay,
But
I'm breaking it down just to the Dodgers. Yeah, you're right.
But in
Imanaga is.
returns to the Dodgers, I think Stone minus, it's similar to Yamamoto minus like 1 start. You're talking about a whole different season. But if you look at Stone's last 4 or 5 starts, only 1 earned run in 4 straight starts. He gets it done in a different way where he can manage his pitch count and get deeper into games. And he doesn't want to blow by guys. He doesn't focus on strikeouts. He is a pitcher that fields his position extremely well. And I kind of agree with it the way David Vassay brought it up. He said the pitcher that he sees is a little bit of Zach Greinke, which is a guy who was a pitcher's pitcher. He would dot corners, didn't want to get strikeouts, just wanted to get the easy outs, ground outs. A lot of the contact that Stone has been giving up, especially on this run of 5 or 6 straight starts, has just been weak contact in the infield, comebackers straight to him to the mound, where we've seen Yamamoto, some of his stuff, particularly his fastball, gets hit and it gets hit hard. And if Yamamoto didn't have a lot of the off-speed pitches that he has, you're talking about a pitcher that only has, 1 to 3 pitches max, where now he's even started to incorporate a slider. So I still think probably by season's end, Yamamoto's gonna he's already kicked into gear. We're starting to see the pitcher that he should be. But Gavin Stone, I feel a lot more confident when that guy's on the mound, giving me at least 6 or 7 innings than Yamamoto. But really early in the season, but I was high on Stone last year. We saw him come up, and I think he needed that a little bit to get, rocked, be humbled. He was a guy that drafted low, started out in low A, worked his way all the way up in just a year's time, and got the call to the MLB, and he realized that he had to work even harder to be a good pitcher at this level. And even though they're both rookies, I feel like Gavin Stone's had a little bit more growth because he's been, up and down, where Yamamoto, while he has all the eyes on him, he was already an established pitcher in Japan and was one of the one of the greatest pitchers of all time in the MBB. So both had different paths to getting to this point, but I think you can't underestimate the season Stone has had, and I would say he's probably the 3rd best starter in the Dodgers.
Babyface, come in on this because their numbers are almost identical. Yamamoto has a lower ERA, but not by much. They have the same win-loss record. They're both 4-1. The big difference for me is in the strikeouts, and I know Michael Carrillo brought it up. I mean, Yamamoto's ratio, he's got like 53 strikeouts to 10 bases on balls. Stone's issue is his control with his walks. He has looked a little different in the last 4 starts. It looks like he's, maybe hopefully correcting that. But that's, to me, where it seemed like that was the biggest difference. Where do you stand with this Yamamoto versus Stone debate?
I think they've been very similar. I mean, their last couple starts have been pretty identical. I mean, just Yamamoto's last start, I gave up 4 runs, but prior to that, he was doing really good as well. Um, I mean, I think they're very similar. The thing with Stone is that, yeah, he struggled last season. He had to kind of learn what this league was about. And Yamamoto, outside that first game, he's been doing really good, really good. And we haven't seen that. And I hope, hopefully he doesn't have to go through it, but he might get that where he's going to get roughed up in some games and he's going to have to come and bounce back from that. And I think Gavin Stone's already gone through that. So that's kind of where we see maybe he's adapted a little bit more to the league. But I mean, definitely, I mean, I can see that argument, but especially with Yamamoto already having played, in Japan for the past couple seasons, so it's kind of different when you call him a rookie. He's not really like a true rookie, but I definitely see that. But yeah, I mean, I think remember when we talked to Friedman, not Andrew, but Alex, and he told us about Gavin Stone and Bobby Miller kind of being elite pitchers. And we didn't see that obviously last year with Stone, but now I think we're starting to see more of what they were talking about with Gavin Stone, how he's able to control a game, and he's right up there. I think he can be a top of rotation guy. Yeah, definitely with the experience. The experience comes. I think the walk rate's going to go down, and he's going to be one of those top pitchers in that rotation for the Dodgers going forward.
But it says that you saw Yamamoto on Monday. What did you see?
I'm just grateful that we have these problems of who is better. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to Canelo and Babyface and you all, and I'm just like, oh, like just like eating my popcorn, enjoying the show, because how spoiled are we that the pitching is so great and we have to dissect who is better between Yamamoto and Gavin Stone. Stone had an amazing spring training, right? So I just think he was overlooked because of all the excitement with the addition of Ohtani and Yamamoto. But the diehards, the fans, especially of pitching, have been quietly excited about how great this pitching has been. And I don't remember the stats on that streak the Dodgers had where they didn't allow any walks like that. I mean, we're so spoiled. It's embarrassing. The amount of talent we have, and we haven't even got all our pitchers back yet. So knocking on wood that this just continues. The Dodgers seem like they know what they're doing. The suits upstairs are managing, getting 7 out of all of these pitchers in the beginning of our games. I'm just so grateful and not mad, and I'm not going to say anything to ruin it or jinx it because I am very superstitious when it comes to that stuff. So I'm just going to say we're grateful, and I'm going to let you guys debate who's having a better start. Just keep it going. You know what I'm saying? That's all.
Well, the only thing I'll add is I want to hand out some floaters, and I know that Mr. Seabad wants to hand. We do owe Alex Vesia an apology. Alex Vesia, I think he might have won a Danny Duffy Award. I'm not sure if he had, but he was receiving a lot of hate on this show earlier in the season, and he has completely turned his season around. Another guy I want to give floaters to is James Paxton didn't walk anybody in Santiago, okay? And but that guy's been Houdini this whole season. How he has an ERA under 3 with the amount of runners that he pitches, runners on while he's pitching. I'm very encouraged by that. He's had 2 great starts in a row. If that guy is going to be your 5th starter and he's giving you performances like that, the Dodgers are going to be in good shape. There is some news coming around, and that is that Canelo, you want to give us the update on Jason Hayward?
Yeah, Jason Hayward started his rehab yesterday, ended up going 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, but played the entire game, started in right field. He's playing again today. That game's probably going on right now. And then they're going to reevaluate, see where he's at physically. Because I don't really think the numbers is what they're concerned with. They're just concerned, can he play all 9 innings? Can he swing the bat? Can he run the bases? Can he play defense? And how does he feel the next morning? So I'm feeling if he does well today, there is a very high chance that he probably rejoins the Dodgers. I would say maybe not tomorrow, but maybe by the weekend or maybe the next series after the Reds. But I think it's very well likely that he will rejoin the team on this next homestand. So that kind of gets up to the point that we brought up, last live that we wrote about on Dodgers Beat, and I have extensively kind of going off of our conversation with Carlos and Juan, where who is the odd man out? Who is getting sent down? And obviously the obvious answer is Chris Taylor, and I kind of go into that way where it's a little bit more complicated to just say, hey, Chris Taylor, you're gone, because he has 10 fire rights. You can't trade him, and he can veto it. He has more than 5 years MLB service. You can't send him to the minor leagues. He is owed almost $30 million for these next 2 years, so it's very hard to just DFA him and then just eat that money. Even though, the Dodgers, they give out money like candy, they still want to be conservative and smart with the money. And at the end of the day, there's still so much upside with Chris Taylor than to just cut him loose. So I think the obvious answer is, I hate to say it, and a lot of people around baseball, especially the Dodgers, it may end up being James Outman, just because it's a little bit easier to cut him loose from the roster because he still has minor league options available. So, and we've seen it before. We've seen the Dodgers send down Yasiel Puig in the middle of the season. We've seen the Dodgers send down Jock Peterson in the middle of the season, Gavin Lux. Like, you got to earn your way on this roster, and we talked about it last live. The competitiveness between all these guys to get on this roster is going to make it hard when some of these guys start coming back from injuries, especially right now we're seeing the position players, but when the pitching starts to get healthy, when Clayton Kershaw's coming back in July and August, hell, even with Bobby Miller, he's throwing a bullpen, and when he comes back, who's the odd man out in the rotation? Like, are you going to tell Gavin Stone you have to go to AAA? Like, is that what we're going to have to do? Is that the more likely answer? But Jason Hayward, he's going to be the first man coming back soon, and the Dodgers are going to have their first probably big decision of the year.
Princesa, I want to hear from you, because it saddens me that people are coming after fellow Staloner Club member James Outman. And look at her. She's going full Dr. Evil. Look, I think everything Canelo is saying makes sense on paper. The guy that should go down is Chris Taylor, but that's not going to happen. The next guy that makes sense is James Outman, because you're trading a lefty for a lefty. And so how are your feelings? I mean, you got to see you got to see him twice in the last week, actually, up close. You got to see the soul glow and everything. Who do you make room for when Jason Hayward comes back?
It's definitely a tough position, and I do agree with what Cody with what Canelo mentioned. I mean, it just seems logical, right? Just thinking in terms of on paper, that Outman would be the man out. And I'm a huge Outman fan. We were Babyface and I saw him at Will Smith's comedy event, and we're just like, friend of the carne asada, and he's like, what's up? Like, just so friendly. But when it comes down to business, and this is a business, I totally get why the Dodgers would be compelled to keep Chris Taylor over Outman. And there's some of our Blilos fam here on the side right here in the chats not giving Hayward a lot of love. So I'm not going to sit here and debate, right? Canelo knows what he's reading it too. I would not want to be in that position. And that's why I'm not in that position. And that's why Dodgers suits get paid a lot of money to make these decisions, because it's not an easy one. That's all I'll say.
Well, when Michael Carrillo says, what are the backup plans when Hayward is a dud? I think there's two backup plans there. I think one of them is you hope that if you send Outman down, he fixes whatever's going on mechanically wrong with him, and he comes back and he goes on a tear. If not, Babyface, is it not Miguel Vargas time? I get all the updates of what he's doing. I'm sure Doom Sal's going to sit here and throw up numbers pretty soon on what Miguel Vargas is doing in the minors, but I think it's gotten to a point with Miguel Vargas that don't they need to know whether this guy is a part of the future, or if not, maybe we need to ship him somewhere else. Can he really be a major leaguer?
Yeah, I mean, I think they got to give him that chance to see what he can do once again, come back up. Again, I mean, he's killing it again in OKC, and we've said this time and time again. He goes there and that's what he does. And it just seems when he's come up, it hasn't transferred to the big league. So I think he deserves that opportunity to come up, kind of see what he can do. But I've mentioned this before. He needs to play. I don't think if he comes and he plays one day, then he sits for 3 or 4 days, he pinch hits occasionally here. I don't think that's going to help him. He kind of needs to come up and play like Baez does. And I mean, what seems logical would be if Taylor was out of action. That's kind of when you bring in Vargas, right? Righty bat. But I mean, they're platoon players, so is he really going to get that fair chance to come up and show what he can do if he comes up as a platoon player?
You're on mute, Juan.
Thank you. All right. It looks like I won the Danny Duffy. All right. I'm winning the Danny Duffy. I think the issue at hand is with Chris Taylor is the guy is literally the 26th man on the roster right now. He plays maybe once a week. I don't know how we expect this guy to come out of it when he's playing once a week. And is it in him for him to say, you know what, send me down, let me get some work, down in the minor leagues? Or is he a guy who just sits there and goes, look, I'm a major leaguer. I deserve to be up here. I need at-bats. If you want me to climb out of this, you got to give me at-bats. There's no other way to look at it, right, Canelo?
No, I mean, I think he needs at-bats. That's the only way. But now where he's at, he's still in the midst of, I think, like a 4 for 56 stretch. He can't get at-bats at this time of the season. I know it's only May, but these games still count. Games in April, May, June, they count towards the ones that you need in September in terms of seeding. And I still believe that seeding matters, and I believe every game matters. So Chris Taylor, he may have to just bite the bullet. I mentioned last week, I think if he's this bad, like no one's this bad just to be this bad. I think there could be an underlining issue health-wise where if the Dodgers can exploit it, they say, hey, get a scan, get this done, and they find it, they'll put him on the IL, and they'll only activate him when they feel that he is ready. And that's the other line. Like my whole thing in that spiel that I wrote on Dodgers Beat was that Outman gets sent down, Chris Taylor gets IL'd at some point, and Vargas and Hayward are the corresponding moves for both of them, because I do think Vargas is going to get caught up eventually, especially before the trade deadline, to show off his value. And if he doesn't get traded and he still plays the way he's playing in the minor leagues, like when I took these stats last week, his slash line was 287, 405, and 971 with 7 home runs and 30 RBIs. I know, AAA and OKC is a hitter-friendly league in the PCL, but he's a guy that, played in the majors, didn't perform, played in the minors, has performed. Maybe he just needs that second chance. And the Dodgers, Vargas has just taken over the Michael Busch role, where he's so good in the minors, but he's just not good in the majors. The Dodgers are going to have to make a decision on that before he ages out there too. And he could be a trade piece. He could be that righty bat that replaces Chris Taylor this time, when we're talking about in October.
Well, Doom Sal said it. Doom Sal says Vargas isn't coming up. Vargas is going in a trade. And just a quick update, guys. It does seem like Michael Busch has cooled down a little bit. So maybe that Andrew Friedman guy knows what he's doing. I know he was going crazy in that stretch there. A couple of the things I want to touch. We're going to take you up until the start of the game today. The Doyers and the Giants. The Doyers going for the sweep of the Gigantes. Game is going to start in about 9 minutes. So we're going to take you guys right up to that. One thing I know, Stephen Webb wrote an article for Dodgers Beat, looking at the Dodgers a quarter of a way through the season. But he says, I know you've been through a lot this year, but what is it? To me, it almost feels like the Dodgers are, I don't want to say they're playing out the string, but I don't think they've clicked on all cylinders. And that's a little crazy to me because I believe, what are they, Canelo? Are they like 14 games over 500 right now at this point?
Yeah, and at the time when Steve wrote the article, it was after 40 games. They were 26-14, which is technically their best start since 2022 when they went 27-13. And my big takeaway from it when Steve wrote the article was looking back on that 2020 team, because not only did that 2020 team, I get it was 60 games. They finished with one of the highest winning percentages in baseball history at 717, but they also started the year off at 30-10, which just is unfathomable. Like I don't remember them being that good to begin the year. I just forgot how dominant that team was, but I think 26 wins at that point. They're at 29 now. hopefully after the bullpen game today, when Ryan Yarbrough cooks, we get to 30, and we're looking at some good baseball right now.
I love it. I love it. When Yarborough cooks, bring it. Bring all that good juju, Canelo. My favorite line out of Stephen Webb's article is the Death Star is almost fully activated. I'm all for it. I'm saying bring it on. And I love that one you had to start this off with by saying it's almost, I mean, geez, we are so just spoiled with the riches of talent we have, and we haven't even got our injured players back. And
I'm not complaining. To me,
Right?
I think it would be scary if this team is clicking on all cylinders. Like if everyone in this lineup does what they're supposed to do. I'm not even saying like exceed, but if everyone in this lineup does, like if Gavin Lux can hit over 200, if these guys do what they're supposed to do, and the pitchers are doing what I mean, it's scary because it's just like they are literally like a fantasy team, right? They're like you feed them into the computer, and it's like they have the regular season figured out, and it's just crazy to me.
I'm enjoying it. I am grateful. I'm just going with it. I'm not even going to question it. Let's just keep going up, right? All the way up.
And I just want to remind everybody, this is with them having 4 of their top leverage guys in the bullpen not available. I mean,
Right.
they don't have Evan Phillips, right? They don't have Brewstar, Mariachi Joe. Brazier looks like Brazier looks like he might be close. He's starting to throw. The Brewstar concerns me because they shut him down. And because he was supposed to, the rumor was he would be back in June. The fact that they've completely shut him down makes me wonder, okay, does that mean maybe later in the season, or are we just going to lose Brewstar for the whole season? And that, of course, is going to mean trade time, even though Friedman doesn't like to trade for bullpen arms. They might need more bullpen because I know people got a little nervous when they saw Michael Grove pitching in the 9th in San Diego. That was not a confidence builder for me.
Yeah, no. That's when I threw my hat in the ring and I said, you know what? I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to get in the bed, get nice and comfy because this game's over. But I think my biggest takeaway before we end the show is just kind of what I'm looking into right now. And it's just the biggest problem I thought that the 2023 Dodgers had was the pitching, whether it was the starting rotation and then the bullpen at the beginning of the year that kind of had to save face. That ended up being the golden thing in October. The bullpen was the best part about it. Their starting rotation was just bad. Even with Kershaw having a really good start to the year, even with Bobby Miller emerging as, one of the top, young starters in the game, they had a obvious problem to fix. And obviously Ohtani, when the offseason first started, it was, all right, how do we get Ohtani and how do we fix the pitching? And they ended up checking off pretty much every single box imaginable for this offseason. And I still look back on the pitching. So they did a complete 180 from last year. It was the first time in years that the Dodgers didn't finish in the top half, even in the top 5 in terms of ERA and ERA plus. I think they were ranked like 13th, which is just not Dodger baseball. Dodger baseball is good pitching and good offense. That's just how it's been throughout most of their history, especially in this recent stretch of 10 plus years of making the playoffs. So far this year, in terms of MLB rankings as of today, they were second in wins with 29 just behind the Phillies. They were third in ERA at 3.16, fifth in quality starts with 21. And my big thing right now is they're third in whip at 1.11, which means they're not walking guys. They're not letting guys get on base, and they're putting these guys away. But they're not doing it in the way that most pitchers in baseball are trying to do it right now. A lot of pitchers just want to strike out guys. They rank 13th in strikeouts, which is kind of surprising because Tyler Glasnow leads the league in strikeouts with 73. But all the other pitchers in the rotation are finding different ways to get outs. And even if you look back to when I started covering the team in DC, from that stretch on to here, they have an ERA of 1.9, and that's team collective. And that's a huge reason why they're 17-4 since then. It's the starting pitching wins games. Pitching wins ball games, and they are firing on all cylinders. Yes, there's a couple of bloops, thrown in there, especially getting shut out in San Diego in that Sunday game. But the pitching, this is built for October, and I'm interested to see, in the next couple weeks and months to see what they do to fill in any holes, or if they feel comfortable, as we've seen in years past, hoping Kershaw comes back from an injury, hoping Dustin May comes back in September, hoping Kyle Hurt comes back, maybe Brewstar. We don't know. So time will tell.
You know what I got from that? That the Dodgers started playing well when Canelo showed up in Washington.
Right?
That was my takeaway from that monologue right there. All right, the game's about to start in 2 minutes. So last one here, guys. Throw that out there. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Frank McCourt, a good old enemy of the Doyer fans, is looking to buy TikTok. Is that Princesa? I'm going to go to you. Is this a thing? I mean, should we even bother? I mean, why they would even let that guy, run a donut shop, I don't even know. But if he buys TikTok, is that a thing? Does that even register for you?
I mean, the irony is I'm not even surprised. It's just what the super rich do in this country. They do what they want, whether or not it makes sense. I'm gonna liken it to Musk buying Twitter. Like, they do what they want, whether it's good for business or not. It's just such a money maker. It should run itself. But like Musk, Frank McCourt will find a way to mess it up. So let him be. Let them do what they want. We'll just sit here eating the popcorn, watching the show. You know what I'm saying? I mean, do you guys agree?
Well, I think the most interesting part of that, right, Babyface, was that he got Guggenheim Securities to back him up in this pursuit, right, of TikTok. So
yeah, that's what I find interesting.
The Dodgers might be the ones that are really owning TikTok then, right?
Well, okay, but it is a finely tuned machine. TikTok is TikTok. So they have to sell. They're in trouble. It's Chinese. We won't get too political. But if they have to sell it and they need a face to buy it when really Guggenheim, then I would have a little more faith in the way. I feel like they would be able to just step back and let it keep making. But if it's just going to be McCourt, I do not have any faith. But Guggenheim is very successful with what they, the Midas touch thing.
Well, will people stop using TikTok? Like I see all the time, I'm not parking in the parking lots because, McCourt has something to do with them. Will you stop using TikTok because McCourt owns TikTok?
I could see that.
I could see that.
Blake Trinan got word and Guggenheim got involved. He knew America's security was at risk. And he went up to Mark Walder and he said, go to the group, get them to buy TikTok. We got to get McCourt involved. I know Dodger fans hate him, but America's security's at risk. And, let's hopefully, maybe on 4th of July, that's the Dodgers announcement. They've purchased TikTok. No more Ohtani slander. If you bring up the gambling, saga, you're banned. You're out. You're done.
You're banned.
Don't believe in the distraction. Banned. It's just a distraction, y'all. That's all it is. Good Lord.
As Denny Cortez says, I think that'd be fair. I think Guggenheim says, give us back the parking lot. We'll give you TikTok. That solves everybody's problem. All right, the game's about to start, so we're gonna sign off. So we're gonna wrap things up.
I picked a winner. I'm gonna pick Denny. Denny's the winner of the bobblehead song.
Denny Cortez?
Congratulations, Denny.
So Denny, shoot me a DM, Bleedos Podcast. Shoot me a DM with your info, and I'll pass it over to Doomsday.
Congratulations, Denny Cortez. You won yourself the bobblehead.
Denny. Woo!
Thank you for being such a great supporter. Always enjoy joining us on the live. Also want to announce the winner of the Danny Duffy Award tonight is Nike. For the first time, we give it to a corporation. Nike took the most strays tonight. Congratulations to first-time winner Nike for winning the Danny Duffy Award. There you go, Canelo. Let's do it that way. So we're very happy. Very happy that La Princesa de Picolandia was able to join us and give us an update on life. For Canelo and for Babyface, yo ha sido su servidor Juan Ramirez. We want to make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. We got a lot of content. We're going to be down covering the Doyers and Red series at Dodger Stadium. So we'll be giving you a lot of pregame and postgame content. Make sure you guys are checking out Dodgers Beat for all the articles that Canelo, Stephen Webb, and the rest of the Dodgers Beat crew is putting out there. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast. Nos vemos para la próxima. This episode of the Bleed Less Podcast has been brought to you by betonline.ag, where the game starts. Nos vemos.
Bye.